We're going to start today by going through the answers to the calculations that I set you for homework last week. Okay, so number one, calculate the number of moles in each of the following. So 2 grams of water. Well, I know that mass equals moles multiplied by my relative mass. Okay, and that's a formula that I'm going to be using through all these questions. And when I talk about relative mass, that's the relative atomic mass, So, for example, if I wanted to have the relative atomic mass of carbon, it would be 12, aluminium, it would be 27. Or it might be the relative formula mass. Okay, and it's important that you know the difference between these two. The relative atomic mass is just when it's one atom, and the relative formula mass is when it's a molecule or a compound. Okay, so we're going to be doing the number of moles of water. So we're going to be using the relative formula mass for water. So I can say that I've got 2 grams of water, so it's 2 equals my number of moles times my relative mass of water, which is going to be, so it's H2O, H is 1, oxygen is 16, so it's 1 plus 1 plus 16. Okay, so I have 2 equals moles times 18, so the number of moles equals, well, I divide both sides by 18 and I get 2 divided by 18 gives me 0.11. All right, it's easy as that. Okay, so we can now just do them all. So B, we have my mass is 10 grams equals moles times iron. Iron is 55.8. I divide both sides by 55.8 and I get my moles equals 10 divided by 55.8, 0.18. See, 1,500 grams of LiCl. LiCl is going to be times 6.9 plus 35.5. So my moles equals 1,500 divided by 6.9 plus 35.5. 1,500 divided by 6.9 plus 35.5 gives me 35.4. And the last one, D, is 6 kilograms of butane, C4H10. So 6 kilograms is 6,000 grams. And the moles is what I want to find. Multiplied by, okay, well, I've got C4H10. So C4H10, that's 4 carbons. So 4 carbons is 4 times 12 is 48. Plus 10 hydrogens, and each hydrogen is 1, so it's just going to be plus 10. So it's 48 plus 10, so my moles equals, divide both sides by 58, so it's 6,000 divided by 58 gives me 103.4. So now we want to calculate the mass. Now this is really straightforward because mass is just the moles times the relative mass. Okay, so 0.01 moles of chlorine gas. Chlorine gas is Cl2. Okay, so it's going to be 0.1 times 35.5 times 2. 35.5 times 2, remember, because it's Cl2 for chlorine gas. So it's going to be 71. All right, so you really need to be careful if you get a question like this. You know, it's a little bit of a trick. All right, so don't just have one chlorine atom. All right, so 0.1 times 7.71 is going to be 7.1 grams. 0.68 moles of potassium, so that's 0.68 times the atomic mass of potassium, which is 39.1. Okay, 0.68 times 39.1 gives you 26.6 grams. 2.4 moles of carbon dioxide, so it's 2.4. Now carbon dioxide is CO2. Okay, so that's one carbon plus two oxygens. Okay, and what does that give us? So it's 2.4 times 12 plus 16 plus 16 gives us 105.6 grams. And calcium fluoride. All right, so again, we need to be careful here. Calcium fluoride, well, I know that calcium is in group 2, so it's going to be Ca2+. Fluorine is in group 7, so it's F-. So the formula for calcium fluoride is CaF2. All right, so if I work out the mass of that, well, calcium is 40.1. 40.1 plus fluorine is 19, but there's two of them. So I have that. So 40.1 plus 19 gives me 78.1. So if I come back here, I'm going to do 6.5 times 78.1 gives me 507.7 grams. Okay, let's move on to question 3. Of course, at any point, if you need to pause, go back, do a few of these again, or you want to make some extra notes, just pause it. All right, but let's carry on for question 3. What type of compound is methane? Okay, so I've got carbon, non-metal, hydrogen, non-metal. So this must be a simple covalent molecule. All right, and it is CH4. It looks like this. All right, there's your single carbon atom bonded to 4 hydrogen atoms. You'll remember that carbon must form 4 bonds because it's in group 4. What would you expect it to have a high or low boiling point? We would expect this to have a low boiling point. Remember, even though the covalent bond between the atoms is strong, those don't break when it changes state. It is the forces between molecules that are weak, and those are the ones that break when it boils, so it has a low boiling point. How many atoms of carbon in one molecule of methane? Super easy, 1. D. How many atoms of hydrogen in 10 molecules of methane? Well, if I've got 4 in one molecule and I've got 10 molecules, then I must have 40. How many moles of molecules in 16 grams of methane? All right, so I'm just asking you to work out the number of moles. All right, so it's just a simple calculation. So that's mass equals moles times our relative mass. So the mass we were given in the question is 16. We want to find the number of moles, and it's the relative mass of methane, which is going to be 12 plus 4 hydrogens, so that's 4. So the number of moles, well, 12 plus 4 is 16. So I divide both sides by 16 and I get 1. So there is 1 mole of molecules in 16 grams of methane. How many molecules of methane in 16 grams? Well, I know that in 1 mole I have 6.02 times 10 to the 23, and I do have 1 mole. So it is 6.02 times 10 to the 23. How many atoms of carbon in 16 grams of methane? Right, well, if I've got this many molecules and each molecule has got 1 carbon atom, then it is 6.02 times 10 to the 23. Now another question I could ask you at this point is, how many atoms of hydrogen are in 16 grams of methane? How many atoms of hydrogen are in 16 grams of methane? If you want to pause it, have a think about it, maybe do a calculation. Okay, so I know that in 16 grams of methane, I've got 1 mole, which is 6.02 times 10 to the 23 molecules. And I know that 1 molecule has 4 H atoms. Therefore, 6.02 times 10 to the 23 molecules will have 4 times that many. So it would be 6.02 times 10 to the 23 times 4 has 2.41 times 10 to the 24 H atoms. Okay? And finally, we'll do question number 4. This question is about magnesium chloride. What is the formula of magnesium chloride? Okay, well, magnesium is in group 2, so it's going to be Mg2+. Chlorine is in group 7, so it will be Cl-, so the formula will be MgCl, whoops, not up there, MgCl2. All right. What kind of compound is sodium chloride? It is ionic because it's a metal and a non-metal. State and explain the electrical conductivity of sodium chloride. So, all right, sorry, these should be. All right, so I wanted to change this to magnesium, but never mind. Let's just stick with sodium. All right. So it doesn't matter. Magnesium chloride or sodium chloride has the same electrical conductivity. It's just these two questions will be slightly different. Okay, so explain the electrical conductivity of sodium chloride. So sodium chloride is also ionic, so it will conduct electricity in the liquid and the molten state. It will not conduct electricity as a solid. All right, so we can say that as a solid or as a liquid or solution does not conduct electricity, does conduct electricity. Okay, here ions are in a fixed position. Here ions are free to move and carry charge. Okay, so I had wanted this to be magnesium chloride, but it's sodium chloride, so we'll do sodium chloride. How many moles in 117 grams of sodium chloride? So sodium chloride is NaCl. All right, so I can do my calculation. My calculation is mass equals moles times my relative mass. I've got 117 grams. Moles is what I want to find. The relative mass is going to be the mass of sodium, 23, plus the mass of chlorine, 35.5. And so my moles, I divide both sides by this number. Okay, so I do 117 divided by 23 plus 35.5, which gives me 2 moles. All right, so that's how many moles there are. And how many moles of sodium atoms are there? All right, so here we go. You think about this a little bit. So I know that 117 grams NaCl is 2 moles NaCl. Okay, so 2 moles NaCl is going to be 2 moles Na. All right, because each NaCl has got 1 Na in it. So if I've got 2 moles of NaCl, I have 2 moles of Na. All right, now 2 moles of Na is going to be 2 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23 sodium atoms. All right, so your answer for 4E should have been 1.204 times 10 to the 24. All right, so if you haven't got any of those right, you need to go back, have a look at them again, and then there should be a quiz for you to do to make sure you understand how all those work.